Self-building bridges. This happens about once a year. I just wake up and I really want to build a self-building bridge.
Bro, you build an automatic bridge once a year? I post a video once a year. We are not on the same level. Okay, jokes aside, Mumbo Jumbo has made some very impressive bridge builders. But I one-upped him in the Nether, and now I'm going to one-up him in the overworld as well. His bridge is really cool, but it's technically not infinite. By happening in 2 phases, it requires stopping the first phase and then running the second phase. So if I can make a flying machine where my endpoint is also a flying machine, and it converts the bridge into the final form as it goes, my bridge builder will technically be infinite. Here goes. The first thing I had to build was a mechanism to hold the blocks that would actually create the bridge, and for a little added flair, I decided I would make my bridge have a cobblestone floor with basalt handrails and a basalt stripe down the middle. And now if I do this, I should see the pattern I want, which is basalt cobble, basalt cobble. Beautiful. Next, I had to power all the pistons that raise the blocks, connect them to an observer that could be triggered by the system, and include a long enough delay for the lava to spread to make the next set of blocks. Yes, I think. That could be 1 block further, I suppose, but it doesn't really matter, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so let's just do this. I mean, hey. Perfect. I then built the first slice of the transportation flying machine. You'll notice it flies a redstone block into the back of a normal piston. This is what allows me to both kick off the building flying machine, as well as become an immovable object to stop the transportation flying machine. Then I used a very basic circuit from that central observer to kick off the transportation flying machine. Right now that's already a clock, because that's going to power that. I don't want it to be a clock right now. I want that off. In fact, what I really want is a way to do this, so that I don't need to keep adding and removing blocks. So we're going to add this block here for once. And then, wait, why had that not become lava yet? That was weird. Doesn't matter. Oh, I need to test something before I do anything else. Okay, so the thing I need to know right now is if I am pushing a slime block, does chain that's facing sideways get stuck to it or not? That's what I need to know. So like if I have a chain facing like this, when I power this, it does move. Okay, so the only option then is glazed terracotta. I'm gonna use I don't know. Let's see. What's this blue one maybe? Oh, this ice blue one. That's nice. Yeah. Okay. So this is an important thing because it's going to help me in packing this flying machine into a small space. Pistons can push 12 blocks. The first block that needs to be here is this piston because it's going to pull this one every step of the way. But that means that including this block, I have 1 of 12. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now the reason this was important to make them out of sticky things is because the next thing I'm going to do is put a block right here. And it can be the same block, even though it's all in one stripe, because this won't stick to this, and that's really nice. Also, I'm going to have a whole bunch of them here, and I could do the same thing, but just having a different sticky block here, but this is way cooler, and it'll allow me to do this cool ripple thing that saves me a lot of time. You'll see. So here I'm partially figuring out and partially remembering how to set up this flying machine, so it'll be able to grab the block from the transportation flying machine, send the transportation machine back, and then retract that normal piston back at the top. Also, it might look like this build is going really well, but the truth is I actually built this yesterday, and after a 3.5-hour recording session, granted only like 2.5 were me figuring out how to build this, the rest was supposed to be just time-lapse footage, but what I was left with was a really long audio file and no video file, because I recently got myself this fancy new gaming PC, and it's pretty awesome, but I jumped right into making a new Minecraft Redstone video, and apparently I hadn't installed a bunch of basic Windows stuff that the capture software I was using expected to be there, and it had failed silently after 10 minutes of recording. And yeah, so the upshot is, since I've already built this thing once, I was able to build it again way more compact and way better than the last one. And it's not like I'm trying to hide those mistakes. I'm going to show you the other one at the end of the video. I'll just put them side by side. Man, the one I built yesterday is really big. In a bad way. It's so slow and so inefficient. And, sometimes it just shows that it's worth getting it wrong for 3 hours to then come back and do it really well in a half hour later on. But yeah, you'll laugh when you see it. I don't think this is right. So, okay. This is going to fire. It's going to pull this whole chunk back, which will trigger those two at the same time. Then these two at the same time. Then these two at the same time. Then this one while it triggers this one, which means this still has one more trigger. And then this is going to be getting triggered at the same time. So that means that this redstone block will still be there, and that's going to fail to pull it. But let's watch that happen just because... It won't! Wait, what? How did that work? I mean, I'm not complaining, but that shouldn't have worked. Okay, get a new block. Done? Already? For real, for real? That's... What? Okay. I mean, like, I'm not complaining. I am confused, but I'm not complaining. So yeah, that had really happened. All it was left to do was to layer it out for 5 blocks wide, and then add the pieces afterwards that would make the bridge into the shape of the bridge I wanted, and we were set. On this chunk, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far, which means you can do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then here you can easily add 2, there's no problem with that. And that means that in survival Minecraft, you could absolutely fire the machine, jump in here, place a block above your head, and you would be safe from all enemies, and it would run infinitely, because you will always be there to keep it loaded. So that's pretty cool. You could also just put a minecart on it, but I just find it funnier to encase the player. Cool. That is actually the whole thing done, I think. So I'm going to first make a copy. Just a side note here, that was the first copy of the save file that I ever did, which is not a brag. That's bad practice. If you get into technical Minecraft, you're way better off if you have a backup folder like what Mumbo has, and he showed in his video, than if you've only got 2 save points you can possibly go back to. Save your work. However, for running it once, like 1 pulse at a time, I can just click this. So it pulls that away, a new one comes in, that goes, it pulls that into place. That is amazing. As if we just did all of that, like, oh man, I should always do everything the night before, and then wake up and do it again for real, and pretend it was my first try. First try! And finally, after giving myself a few more blocks of space, I was able to build the sections of flying machine needed to pull the bridge into its true form. Alright, as promised, here is the 2 pictures of old and new, and you can see just how much of an improvement it really was. So I guess the lesson there is, turns out practicing things and planning them actually works. Who knew? Anyway, if you liked the video, please like the video. Please tweet at Mumbo Jumbo and let him know that he's been Nifegun'd twice now. Not that he'll ever know what that means. And to really earn that subscribe, let me tell you what's next for this project. So although I used one machine here that both receives the shipment blocks and places them all in one motion, it's actually incredibly slow. This thing clocked in at around making 80 rows of bridge in like a little over an hour. So it's way faster to just build it yourself. It is really cool though, and this is just for fun. But I think it might be almost worth building if I actually combine what I did here with something that Mumbo did that I didn't, which is moving many rows of bridge at a time. And I think I've figured out how to do that. So subscribe if you want to see this machine, but literally 12 times more efficient.